Guys, before I start this video, I need to ask you something really important. Have you seen my wallet? Turns out I'll never have to ask that question again because this video is sponsored by Exter, the smart trackable wallet that makes that old bulky thing a relic of the past. Exter's sleek minimal feel gives you a surprising amount of storage through a mind-blowing design that made me wonder why I'd ever carry anything else. I've been using my Parliament wallet for a few weeks and the mechanics are incredibly sturdy. Just tap this little button and boom, convenience. Your cards pop right up every time and just slide them back down easy peasy. Losing your wallet is a nightmare, no one wants that, but with the razor thin tracking card inside, you can easily link your phone or smart device to ring the wallet so you never waste your time digging through the couch when you really dropped it in your shoe. Plus this tracker uses solar power. If you put it out in the sun for 2 hours, you're gonna get up to 3 months of charge. Use my custom link in the description below to check out Exter for yourself. If you end up agreeing with me and the thousands of other 5-star reviews and buy a wallet or one of their other products, I get kickback from those sales, which helps support the channel directly. Hey neighbor, welcome back to a special edition Top 20 Countdown on Artv. My name is John, and today I'll be counting down my favorite songs from Deftones, the alternative metal band formed in the late 80s in Sacramento, California. I ranked all 9 Deftones albums on the channel recently. It was extremely tough to do, but if you missed that, there's a card on screen now to see it. Of course, the next logical step was to pick out my favorite songs and put them in order, which proved to be impossible to nail down to just 10, so I went with the top 20 instead. There's also some honorable mentions down below because I'm actual trash and couldn't stop adding songs to the list. I'm gonna keep my thoughts short and sweet along the way. Remember, it's all just opinion, and I do hope that you enjoy this countdown. Please take a quick second to hit that like button, share it out with another Deftones fan, and if you haven't already, then subscribe for the love of music. You ever feel like you're just one ferocious headbang away from happiness? Dr. John has you covered with a cut from around the fur that should do the trick perfectly. From its pummeling riff to the chopped up boardwork of Frank Delgado that blends Chino's screams into the void, to the eerie ambience that serves as the exit lute to the multiverse, this is a hell of a statement from a young band, or really any band, but it hits that much harder knowing what they would go on to accomplish in their career. Yep, that's a tantalizing riff if I've ever heard one. Stephen Carpenter's work is an instant switch flipper. In fact, it's really the driving force of the entire song that's kept me lapping it up every chance I get since Ohms dropped. Ethereal lights from heaven twist through the hellish filters of Deftones to become one of the more stunning tracks in their discography. The spiraling little riff doesn't have to be too forceful to make its point, so if there's a hole in the earth, prepare to be swallowed whole with a smile on your face. The kick of Koino Yokin's opener Swerve City is enough to shatter the space-time continuum and then some. I hate that this isn't higher up, but at the same time, it's Deftones, so there was a pool the size of a country to narrow down, but I knew this had to make my top 20. Those guitars reek of impending doom, warping into this super aggro mindset you can totally get lost in. The narrator feels tormented amidst the sea of music, and those fluctuations that come from Chino are really just the chef's kiss on top of an already perfect 5-course meal. The opening minutes of this song are breathtaking. A slow culling guitar burns like a never-ending candle. It's dark and suave, and the note pattern evokes a deep-seated feeling of nostalgia that just makes me feel at peace. By the time the full band cuts in on the chorus, you really know that there's no stopping this tune, and Chino's high notes on the bridge are fucking gorgeous. There's so much to love about Heart's Wires, including the fact that it's so versatile to the point that it becomes spiritual. sexiest song about murder fantasy ever written, hands down. Bloody hands, of course. I ran out of fake blood. There was supposed to be blood here, but just imagine if my hands had been bloody. The song was written about electrocuting a girl in the bathtub in the most peaceful way imaginable. It's not something that Chino ever wanted to do or really write about in the first place, but kind of like a horror movie script, the fucked up corners of your mind just come to you at the weirdest times and the weirdest ways, and this time it kind of parlayed into this transcendent glimpse of humanity that ends with a toaster being tossed in a bathtub. This far into the countdown, I think it's my responsibility to come clean about something. I've clearly got a soft spot for Deftones. Gone sexual! I'm sorry, they just do the sex type thing so well, and this time, sex just so happens to be in the title of the song. Sex tape is like watching a time-lapse of a flower garden coming to life until the full blooms are budding to the point where they're pumping euphoria into our bloodstream. With the way this song opens, you know you're in for something special, but when the chorus rolls in and all of its wave-rolling glory, it's just one of the most majestic things your ears will ever behold. Change in the House of Flies is the work of art that made me fall in love with this band. My manager of the movie theater I worked at back in the early 2010s was a huge Deftones fan and showed me a bunch of their albums. He started off with White Pony, so surprise, surprise, Change got me hooked and I never looked back. Gentle Whispers set the stage by spring-loading the suspense before thrusting us into the fire. Everything moves in slow motion in this world, all leading up to that haunting line, "Give you the gun, blow me away," just before the final chorus lights up the sky like fireworks on the 4th of July. Such a Strange Numb has to be one of my favorite lyrics, not just in the Deftones canon, but of all time. Obviously, it does make more sense with the music and the words that are meant to surround it, but I found it to be a harrowing summation of life itself. It's a cold world, but Minerva turns up the heat with a heavy abundance of shoegazy rock with the band's favorite kind of facelift they give. This was actually the first Deftones song I ever heard all the way back in 2005, and it's absolutely among their best. I really don't know if my words can describe the diamonds contained within Beauty School. Just let it drive you crazy, wild, all of the above, but don't let it slip away from your radar. Abe's drumming complements the sensual mood, plus the guitars are so crisp they pop like fire embers in the mix as they allow Chino to glide across the hook like an albatross. When a band drops the second single and it's significantly better than the already pretty great lead single, anticipate one hell of an album coming down the pipeline. Stefan's gargantuan guitars never fail to get me in the mood, and the beginning words Chino yells out about rejecting both sides of what he's been told, that allows us to swallow the heat of what he's feeling. There's a lot of menace in this performance, and I couldn't be happier with this as both the opener of the album and as a Deftones song at large. The drumming goes fucking nuts, and it's an exemplary look back at the entirety of their career. All roads led to this. When you can boil a song down, inspect every little aspect of it, pick apart the layers, and every single one of them holds up as stellar by its own merits, you know you're listening to the work of legends. While it's easy to be magnetized straight to the center of the pit every time those grinding guitars work their way through, pay attention to what the rest of the guys are doing with their instrument of choice, because that's what makes Bloody Cape a certified banger. You could not ask for a better note to close out Diamond Eyes. Chino described this place is death as romantic dirty chaos. That nailed it home beautifully, so why try to create words when they perfectly summed it up themselves? It's clean as hell, sexually charged, but also hesitant, lost, and filthy. I kinda interpret the message to be about getting lost in your own head and overthinking a relationship. I know that might not be the actual meaning, of course they're intentionally left open-ended more often than not, but I just like to visualize this person tangled in the waves, fighting through a daydream and a nightmare simultaneously. We've already talked a lot about waves in just this top 20 alone, so it makes sense that we've finally arrived at lucky number 7, Cherry Waves from Saturday Night Wrist. This was Chi's final album with Deftones before his tragic accident and later passing, so it's great to see a spotlight placed on his groove with this kind of velvety pristine. 5 minutes float by like 30 seconds. I could listen to the chorus of the song over and over again. It's so good. The production on this track is insane. One minute you're floating down a euphoric hallway of pure bliss, not knowing that a solar flare is waiting to pounce right around the corner, but don't ever let that 1 minute go unappreciated as if it's an afterthought introduction. The first 80-ish seconds of Goon Squad are unsettlingly warm and inviting, and I love it to death. But then it's a razor slash to the throat as soon as the riffage begins. It's so two-faced and I love it for that. This song is massively underrated. I will go to my grave with that statement on the tombstone, and I will bring it up any chance I get to throw it praise. You see, there's structurally sound, and then there's bands like Deftones that know they can build a home that's not gonna collapse, but good God, are they gonna try like hell to shake it until it falls anyways. Once again, I have to point out how quintessentially Deftones their 9th album Ohms is. At the center of it all is this stroke of genius, a song that rivals their highest highs and then dares you to look over the edge and not fall into oblivion. The spell of mathematics expertly pulls off the tightrope act known as Quiet Loud. They could do this shit in their sleep, but they still keep bringing new things to the table, and it's so good! This track is like being buried alive by noise. The guitar tone pours cement on your coffin and the drums hammer in the nails, except wait, my guy Chino's waiting on the outside, operating the crane to maneuver a quick exit right at the last second to escape death. Whew! Now that's what I call exhilarating. It's Maynard James Keenan doing a motherfucking guest spot on the best Deftones album. What else do you need me to prove? What, you actually want me to try and pick apart the hand of God? Hell no, we're already here, my friend. Just let it happen, but make sure you do it on the most sexually charged night drive of all time, because these men have more on-screen chemistry than 20 rom-coms combined. Fall is Deftones season. There's no denying how good their music sounds during those colder months, but Be Quiet and Drive almost feels like salty air on a late summer's eve. You've got to appreciate how riveting this cut is. It's actually kind of timeless sounding. The guitars are ridiculously satisfying. There's so many little nuances and tones in the playing style that keep things fresh, and the overall mood is smoother than a perfect wave rolling its way across the ocean. Excuse me for fangirling, but oh my fucking god, dude, this song is heart-stoppingly flawless. Not a single little note goes to waste, and it's a 7-minute song. The trembling ambience greets us in the form of a tasteful instrumental opening before erupting like a volcano filled with nothing but gold serotonin. You feel this song deeper than in your bones. It touches your soul and bounces back from a black hole in space to supercharge those hallucinogens floating into some unknown bloodstream. The lead riff chugs along masterfully as Chino allows his voice to dance over that without overpowering the rhythm section. It's a thing of beauty to see everyone making the best possible use of their weapon of choice and turning it into pure sex in music form. Go get your knife, and slash that mother effing subscribe button. That's right, we made it all the way to number 1, and I'm asking real politely if you'll subscribe to the channel, and it's not just because I'm holding a knife in my hand. You kids know you love your violence, but did you ever know that you could get that kind of perfection in a Deftones-sized bottle? Knife Party is the legendary party trick that seems like it'll be one thing, maybe a shoegazy slow burner about heartache, but in reality, it's grounded in reaching a climax, both as lovers and as users. It's wild because the screamed female vocals starting in the midsection are off-putting at first listen perhaps, but the closer you study the song's molecular formula, light switch lighting up all of Madison Square Garden just like that. Fists flying in the air, heads being banged, hearts being swallowed whole, Knife Party is everything I could ever want in music. The chorus is catchy as fuck, the twisted fate of the narrator really gets you invested in your surroundings, and the ethereal playing style of the rest of the band, especially Abe's drumming in the interlude, it's surreal that this song even exists. Don't take it for granted, it's king shit sitting right at the top of its rightful throne. Mission accomplished. I counted down my top 20 favorite Deftones songs, so now it's your turn. Let me know with the comment down below what your top 10 or even your top 20 are. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the Deftones content that I've been putting out. If you didn't see the ranked episode, I'm so proud of that one. Thank you guys so much for showing it love. If you enjoyed this or the ranked or anything Deftones related, do me a favor, share it out with another Deftones community. Maybe you missed that ranked episode, but don't sweat it. You can tap here to see that now, or tap here for another top 10 countdown. A special thank you goes out to my current $75 a month patrons, Sombre, artist Brandon Barenfeld, and Dayton Hamilton. My Patreon is the top link down below if you'd like to help out the channel financially and get some cool perks in return. Other than that, I'll be back soon for more on Artv.